perhaps come just in time to boost President Trump's reelection hopes. It is an election year, after all. Our panel, Hadley, Heath, Independent Women's Foreign Policy Director, with us alongside Paul Aversano from Alvarez and Marcel, where he's managing director. It's good to have both of you. And you heard Dion Rabowen from Axios, who's on with us a lot, talking about that. He wrote about it, Paul, this morning, and that, yeah, everybody's worried now about the economic impact of this. But at some point, China and the rest of the world will probably come roaring back from all of this. So how do you gauge it?
I'm a little skeptical. I mean, no one predicted the coronavirus. It was a black swan event. So I'm not sure how they could actually predict when it's going to end. I mean, from what I read, no one's even predicted we've hit the peak yet. And I think you also have to question whether you're getting valid data out of China. So I think it's very hard to make these type of predictions.
That's interesting. So you think the risk is more kind of on the downside, so to speak, that things could get worse before they get better. And that's it, Hadley. You have to make a bet if you're going to, whether it's a political bet or just an economic bet that things are going to get better in the second half of the year, you have to believe that first it will stabilize over there. Do you have confidence they can get it under control and as a result, get their economy turned around?
Well, certainly that's what we're all hoping for. And when you look at data from Americans who are making prognostications about their own personal finances, Gallup has some new data suggesting 74% of Americans believe they will be better off financially a year from now. So we're very optimistic. I'm optimistic about coronavirus. I'm also optimistic about our economy here at home. I think, with the end of the winter season, whether we're talking about in April, May, projection that transmissions of the coronavirus will be under control. We also tend to see a boost in consumer spending around the summer months anyway, because kids are out of school, people are taking vacations, it's warmer outside, people have activities, and the cold and flu and viral season is so much more than coronavirus that's keeping a lot of people inside, and we're getting lots of snow dumped on us here in Denver today. But this is going to happen, I think, naturally as we move into summer. People are going to enjoy the economy, enjoy all that the country has to offer, and it's going to be to the president's advantage politically.
All right. Meanwhile, signs of a booming economy. January's blockbuster jobs report hitting a record 112 straight months of net job growth in the U.S. So, Paul, last month you had some doubts. Let's play it.
What concerns me most is that we're at the end of the cycle. We're in a historically low interest rate environment. Historically, this market has been driven by consumer spending. How long can that continue? Yeah. So in the short term, I think there's more room to run. Over the medium to longer term, I'm a little more bearish.
Mostly, I want to know if you were making it rain cash last time, why I didn't get any, and where the cash is this time. Right. But let me ask you, so do you feel any differently now?
Well, you got me there on the Flashback Friday. So I guess, here to borrow a line from Joe Biden, which you probably don't hear much on this show, here's the deal, folks. Here's what I would say. Obviously, a very strong and healthy jobs report, which drives consumer spending, historically low interest rates, add fuel to that fire. We have a lot of positive things adding to the momentum. Trump's acquittal, walking back any potential war scenario with Iran, phase one China trade deal, and even tax cuts 2.0. I think, and I had said this last time too on the show, I think what you need to look out for is another black swan type event. If it's not the coronavirus, it's something else. And it's very difficult to predict that. But I think what most people say, when it comes to looking at the markets, and just even leadership or management in general, you can't get complacent when times are good. So I'm optimistic, but I also think people need to be prepared for another potential black swan event, particularly coming from outside the United States.
Hadley, also, the news cycle is so fast. Anything could happen between now and the next election. It seems like it's around the corner, but in Trump time, it's a million years away.
That's right. And certainly, we're not just limited to what happens within our country's borders, but global events, exogenous factors totally outside of our control, developments in foreign policy certainly weigh heavily on voters. We're going to see as, the end of the Democratic primary phase moves towards a general election, a lot of those debates are going to completely shift, and people will be paying attention to the issues that will drive the November election.
Yes. Although more taxes are always bad. Paul and Hadley, thank you.
Thank you.
Just plug that in there real quick.
Yeah, just work it in.